All right, so today we're going to be talking about what's new in Project Pro 2016. My name is Laura Crawford. I will be your presenter for today's session. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. There's some fun things that we can talk about and share. I'm going to go ahead through some introductions and some objectives. We'll talk about what's new in Project Pro 2016, and then we'll focus on a few new things in Project Online. And this will be really primarily a demonstration, right? I'd really like to jump into the tool with you and show you some things. We'll also end with Q&A and next steps. So you can, at any time, type in your chat window, but because I have dual monitors and I'm kind of moving things around, sometimes that chat window gets buried. So I apologize if I don't get to see it. But at the very end, I will save time for questions. Okay, so I'll try and save at least 15 minutes or so for some questions. Typically, I stop the recorder then only because I've found that people are a little bit shy about asking questions, so we'll turn the recording off. We'll get a chance to ask some questions. Feel free to email me at any time after this for the recording. You can always email us at info@ppmworks.com. Also, if you have any questions that you think of after today's session. All right. Okay, so a little bit about myself. My name is Laura Crawford. I am a senior PPM specialist. So I am actually a consultant that goes out to client sites. I do gather requirements to get an understanding of how you would like this tool to support your processes and your goals and your objectives for your organization. So then from there, we go ahead and start configuring the tool. What we do is we go ahead and configure the tool again to support how you want to use it. We also develop custom reports for you, focusing a lot primarily on Power BI these days. So create reports for you. We also create training, customized training, so that all the users are trained in the tool to support that early user adoption, etc. We actually do use the tool as well. So I'm not just certified in taking tests, but I actually create projects every week. I publish them, I fill out my timesheet. We run our entire business in Project Online. So we have a lot of wealth of experience that we bring to the team, and to the table, I should say. This is just a sampling of some of our clients, and these are some of our solutions and services. So as I said, we do configuration. We also can do support if that's what you're looking for, or maybe you're just looking for training. All of those can be certainly addressed. So we have consulting services across the board. Some of our solutions here that you'll see, we have some custom solutions as well that we've developed because we do live, eat, and breathe in this tool. We found that sometimes there are some things that either clients are looking for or we ourselves in our organization are looking for. So we've done some customization. So feel free to reach out to us to ask about those. We'd be happy to set up some time to talk about those. All right, so our learning objectives today. We're going to learn how to save a project to a recent location. That's relatively new. That came out in the last update. We're going to also talk about creating agile projects and some of the updates now to the new task boards. We're going to talk about linking tasks to Planner. We're going to talk about setting predecessors in the new drop-down feature. I'm going to show you how to create multiple timelines and how you can name each of those timelines as well. We'll talk about the new insert blank row and also the new task summary field. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in here. All right, so first thing I want to show you is recent save locations. So I'm actually going to go ahead and end my slideshow so that I can show this to you. So let me go ahead and open up project. Let's grab one of these guys here. All right, so this is just a project that I have open. It's actually from a template in Microsoft default template. So when you go ahead and you go to do a save as for your project, especially when you first created it, you'll see here that it'll default to your environment typically, where it assumes you're going to save it to Project Web App. But you also, if you select recent here, you'll see that you have other options as well. So if there's a template folder or OneDrive document, any places that I've been saving, any projects or any reports that I've been working on, it'll give me the option of saving my project to any of these areas as well. All right, so that's new. So again, it's just kind of tracking and keeps a running list of where you saved other projects, and it gives you the option of quickly locating where that folder or where that OneDrive might be. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about some of those agile features here. So if I select new, you'll see that these are the feature templates. The one that I had opened just a moment ago was the commercial construction project, but you'll see now Microsoft went ahead and separated the waterfall project template from a sprints project. All right, so if I was to select sprints project, this would give me a project more in an agile methodology here, where I can start adding new tasks to my sprints here. All right, so I can come in here and say create webinar topic. Whoops, if I can spell that right, topics list. All right, so I can come in here and I can add that in here if I wanted to. All right, I also do have, I believe, another project open. Let me just check. Yeah, let me open this one because there's a few more in here. All right, so you can see here that this again is also looking at the sprints page back here. But there's a couple of different options that you have now. All right, so you'll see here that you have your task boards here. So if you wanted to change views, you can have your backlog, next up, in progress, done. I can add a new column if I wanted to. But some of the things that I could do to this as well that's a little bit different is I can now customize these cards. So if I wanted to, I can add some custom fields in here. All right, so I can come in here and select some fields. So let's say start might be one that I want to see. So if I want to see my start, I can locate start, can do finish maybe. Or maybe I also want to add notes. So maybe I have some notes in Project Professional. Oh, not that one. Let's see if I can try that again and type in an N. Let me get rid of that. All right, let's see if I can go in here and notes. Click notes, notes. Goodness. All right. So apparently I'm challenged today. Let's see if I can find it the old-fashioned way by just scrolling through here. There it is, all the way at the very top. Okay. All right, so I added some custom fields. I can keep going if I wanted to. I could delete them at any time if I decide I don't need them after today. Go ahead and select OK. And now you'll see that I have a start and finish date around those tasks, as well as a notes field. So if I had any notes in there, they would be visible there too. One of the other things that I can do in here now that's new as well is you'll see that I can set the % complete for a column here. So if I was to go ahead and type in 50%, click away, I can come in here and move or drag and drop this particular task into this column. And now because this column has been marked as 50% complete, if I was to go to a different view, such as a Gantt chart view, which I still have, so I still have my Gantt chart view in here, so I don't have to just look at those boards. But now if I go ahead and insert my % complete, and yes, I know my edits won't be saved. All right, you'll see there 50%. So anything that I do on that page, if I mark those as 50% complete, it'll show up here as well. So the task now is considered to be 50% finished. All right, okay, so let me go back here. All right, so that's pretty cool. So if you have, especially when it's 100% complete, you can just drag and drop, and then those tasks, of course, are going to be marked as complete. All right, so that's something that's been new and improved. One of the other things too that you can do is I can also quickly manage sprints as well. So if I go up here to my manage, you'll see here that this also gives me the ability to create a sprint, to give it a length, a start, and a finish as well. So I can come in here and I can quickly change and update this information and click on OK. All right, so I can also come in and change the duration if I needed to. So you'll see this is 3 weeks, 2 weeks, etc. So, and I can also add a sprint if I needed to. And if I select OK, all right, so that's one way of managing your sprints as well. So just some different views here. So there's also, if you see a sprint planning sheet in here, all right, so this is more of that Gantt chart view. What's nice about this is there's show on board. So if you have new tasks that you've added, maybe you don't want everything to be on that planning board, you can hide them. All right, so this is the ability to say no or yes. All right, so you can certainly choose which tasks are going to be displayed. And this is a new field, so if I was in a Gantt chart view, I can actually insert it here as well. So if I was just to right click and insert my column, I think it's display, or is it show? It might be show on board. There it is, show on board. All right, so I can insert this into any view. All right, so again, you're not locked into just using the task boards if you don't prefer. You can toggle back and forth into a Gantt chart view as well. All right, so those are some of the things that the Agile features were rolled out quite a while ago, so that's not new. That was within this past year, but they have been updating some of the editing capabilities to the task boards there. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. All right, so let me close this guy up. I'll probably need them in a moment, so maybe I'll cancel that and just locate one of my other projects that I have open. I'm going to grab this commercial construction project here. This is, let me make this more recent because this is a template. So the start date is back in 2000. Let's go ahead and change that. All right. Okay, so at least now we have some relevant dates here. All right, I grabbed this just from the template where I just showed you where that Agile Sprints project was. This is a commercial construction project. I wanted to use this because it has a lot of tasks in here, so it'll make it a little bit easier for us to use. All right, so let me show you a couple new features. One thing is the predecessor column here. Let's take a look at this real quick. If I select this drop down, you'll see that I have the complete hierarchy of every task in my project. So I can use this to select tasks to link to. All right, so I could also come in here and there's not too many tasks aside from task number 2 that come before this. So let's see. I can also link this to number 2, navigate away. You'll see now that that is linked there. I could, of course, just type in numbers here, but if I'm way down in a large project, it's kind of nice to have that hierarchy because this task actually might be dependent upon a task that's way up in the beginning of my project plan. So I can scroll through here and say, oh, hold on a minute. This task is actually dependent upon the long lead procurement. So if it is, I can go ahead and select this here. From here, I understand that this is part of this summary task, long lead procurement, gives that hierarchy here in my project, making it nice and easy for me to be able to select those. All right, so that's the predecessor column there. So I think that's pretty neat. Something else that's new is task summary name. Here we go. Task summary name. This is a new field as well. And this field is, you'll see here that these tasks are rolling up under the summary task for steel erection. And that is the summary task that's listed here in this column as well. All right, so it helps me, it's a little bit easier for you to organize or be able to see your tasks in your project plan by phase. Now, for those of you that use timesheets, one of the first things that I thought of when I saw this, I got all excited and I went into a timesheet view and tried to add it, and it's not visible there. So it is not, I think it would be great if this new field could be added to a timesheet view or a task view so that for those of you that may have tasks that have similar names in more than one phase, it makes it easier for you to know which one is the correct one for that particular phase. But here in your projects, for planning purposes, you can see how you can insert this field here. So that's actually relatively new as well. All right, so something new to show you there. All right, one thing I'm going to show you is the new timeline features as well. So you can see up here that I do have a timeline up here, but honestly, I just think that this is kind of hard to see and visualize in here. So I'm actually going to deselect it from here. I like to go to other views and I like to select timeline. And if I do this, what will happen is I just see my timeline here in my view all by itself, making it nice and clean and easy for me to work with and format. Now, if this is a new project for you and you've never created a timeline, this would all be blank. No big deal, because one of the easiest things or easiest ways to add tasks to this timeline in this view is to select existing tasks. Once you've selected existing tasks, you'll see that some of these have been selected, and that's what you're seeing here. So you can scroll through your entire project hierarchy and select those tasks that you'd like to see here on the timeline. All right, and once I click OK, everything would be displayed here. Let's just see if I have some milestones here. That didn't really show up as nicely as I wanted to. I was hoping I might have a milestone task. Those appear as diamonds down here on the very bottom. So very nice, easy way to format this. What's also great about this is that they all come in blue, but I can come in here and quickly format. So I can select different colors so that everything is not the same color. Or maybe I pick one color and I just do varying shades of that. I can change my text as well. So if I select a very dark color there, I then can come in here and select a white text so that I can see that. I can also decide what I want to see in here. So if I don't want to see task dates, I can select this or deselect it because it is selected, and then the dates that we see here will disappear. So that will get rid of that. If I decide, oh, I really actually need to see that, I can go in and select it. Timescale is what we're seeing up top. If you don't want to see the timescale, that would be something that you would deselect. All right, let me show you one other thing though. Go back to a Gantt chart view, and let me just grab some of these guys, and I'm just going to quickly update them so that we can see some progress here. All right, so let me go back to my timeline view. All right, so I picked the one that was very dark. So you see there's some shading in here. So of course I picked the phase that I colored the darkest here. Let me actually, but what it's displaying is progress. I was going to select a different color, but I think you get the picture. So any of these tasks, any of these phases, as progress is being made, you'll see a shading. Once it's been completed 100%, it'll be fully shaded in. So that's a nice feature that they went ahead and updated within the past year, giving you that ability to see that progress there. Now, one of the other things that I really like, this is a very busy timeline here. You'll see if I select my format ribbon again, there's timeline bars. So if I select this, it'll create another timeline bar for me. And I can actually come up here and grab some of these tasks and bring them down to a second timeline. Or what I could do is say, okay, let me show the subtasks underneath this particular phase, and I can go through here. Let's see, hopefully I can find it quickly. There we go. And I can actually start selecting some of those other tasks underneath here. So I can break this out by phase and then list some of the key milestones for that particular phase in here if I wanted to. And what I also can do is I can label these. So I could say overall maybe, or project summary level, and then maybe part 2 is steel direction. We'll do that. All right, click OK, and now you'll see that my timeline bars have a label as well. So I think that's pretty cool that you can separate them out and break them down so that you can further list tasks underneath those, making it easier and visible to see this. You'll see that these do have some shading on them, like I said, because I marked those as 50% complete. Tasks that have a shorter duration, if I want to see it a little bit easier, I could display it as a call out, which is what I did here. These can be moved around. So very easy to format this. What's really neat about this too is that once I'm done, if I save this, a couple of things will happen. Number one, I can actually see this in Project Web App. So if I'm in Project Online and I open it in the web, I can see my timeline, and it also will be visible on my project site. So if you're using project sites, you can see it from there as well. This copy timeline feature is really neat. If I select email and I open up Outlook and I do a right-click paste, it'll paste my timeline into my email. For presentation, I have a PowerPoint open. I can just do a right-click and paste into PowerPoint as well. So what's good about this though is I can email this to anyone. They do not have to have Project Professional to be able to see this. So these are pretty good for status meetings or meetings with your stakeholders. So you can identify maybe some high-level summary tasks and some key tasks in there and break it out as much as you need to. You can email it to them. You don't have to worry that they don't have Project Professional. They do not need Project Professional to open up a timeline view. All right, all it is a it's a pasted timeline on there. Now, as your project tasks are updated in your project plan, things will shift around here as well. All right, this is, of course, directly related to your project schedule. So as tasks are marked as complete, we saw that these were updated here. As durations are extended or tasks are slipping and being rescheduled, they will also show up here as well. All right. So yeah, so that's pretty neat. I like using this. I encourage you to use it as well. I think it's got some really good functionality in here that you can share and easily share with your team or others. I'm going to go back to a Gantt chart view. One of the other things I want to show you that's pretty new is for those of you that are used to just right-clicking and inserting, you'll see that you can insert a task, right? And it'll always give you that blank new task placeholder with a start and finish date based on today's date, or a duration as well with a question mark. But there's something new in here as well. So instead of having to go back in and remove some of this, you'll see here now there's blank row. And it's exactly what it sounds like. So if I select blank row, it's going to insert a blank row above where I have that new task highlighted. So if I go ahead and select that, you'll see that it is just that, a blank row. It doesn't put in new tasks where I have to type over it. It doesn't create that one day with the question mark on duration. All right, so again, that's just another way of inserting blank rows in your project plan so that if you're copying, pasting from somewhere else, it makes it nice and easy for you to do that. So that was right here on the insert section of your task ribbon, and that is blank row. All right, okay. All right, so one of the other things I wanted to show you, and I have not published this project yet, so let me just grab one of the other ones that I have open, like that Agile one. So I'm glad I did not close it like I was going to earlier. All right, this is a published project, so I can show you this last thing that I want to show you here before we go into PWA. And this is the ability to link to Planner. So let me talk about what Planner is. You'll see here on the task ribbon, there is a Planner link. Let's go ahead and show you in my environment what Planner is. All right, so from here, this is my demo landing page for PWA. And if I select my app launch over here, or this waffle chart, if you want to call it that, and if I go to all apps to see if there's not an apps here, it may be not visible, so I need to expand to all apps to try and find it. And if I scroll down a little bit, or too much, there we go, Planner. So I can go ahead and select this, and it's going to bring me to my PlannerHub. All right, and I do have a webinar planning activities here. So you can see how I can come in here and I can start adding tasks to this. So if you're not using this, how we use this, let me just give you, like, I get a lot of questions on why would I use Planner instead of Project, or when should I use Project and when should I use Planner. We use Planner for more or less action items that we don't want to fall through the cracks. So somebody has reached out to us and they've asked us to schedule a demo, and they've also asked us to put together maybe a statement of work. Well, that's not a project per se, because we might not win it, so we don't have a project schedule created just yet, but we can create some sales activities and assign them to people on our sales team. So I can assign a someone to create that statement of work. I can also assign someone to create a demo for them or set it up and schedule it. So that's how we typically use it. Now in project, back in my project plan here, I do have the ability of linking a task to Planner. Well, let me scroll back up so we can see our tasks here. Let me go to, let's see, am I in an enterprise gap? Yeah, okay. So you'll see here that if I select Planner, it's going to open up a link to plan dialog box here. Oh, you know what? I probably created something new and I didn't publish, so I do have to publish this one again. Sorry about that. If it's grayed out like this, that means that the project hasn't been published yet. So I thought this one was published, so that's why I jumped into this one. But I'm going to monitor this. It's published to 0%. When it gets to 100, we'll see that we're able to use this link right here. So it takes a little bit of time. There we go. When it first publishes. Let me close this again. Let's see if we can open that. Try that again. All right, so my project is published. So I should be okay. Oh, I think I have to select a task. There we go. So let me select a task. Now that I've got my published project, I've got to go ahead and click on link to existing planner plan. And now I need to type in the group. So back in where we just were, you may have noticed that I have different groups. All right, so I may have a sales support group. I may have a marketing group, a corporate group, whatever that may be. All right, so I need to tell it what group. So I'm going to go ahead and say mine should be, I think it's the webinar planning activities. There it is. So I'll go ahead and select that. All right, so now it'll link this task to my project plan, but there is no bidirectional syncing here. So if I go and create content task in that plan and I update it in the plan, it does not update the task here. Now we do have a custom solution for that called the PlannerHub. So if you're interested in finding out how those two things can work together, we can certainly answer questions that you may have. But right now, it doesn't really do too much. It just tells you which plan tasks are linked to in here. It gives you the ability to say, okay, I can go to this webinar planning activities plan and see what kind of action items are being scheduled in there and what's being completed. Now, when I do assign a task in Planner, I will get an email alert letting me know that I have a task assigned to me. It'll also tell me when it's late or when it's due. So that may be helpful for you. So it gives you the visibility, letting you know that there is a plan out there that has some activities that you may want to take a look at, but it's not going to create any updating from the plan to Project Pro. So just wanted to make sure that's clear there. All right, so let me go ahead and show you a couple of things in PWA. All right, and then we will be done. Let's just see. Okay, let me go back here and click on my home link and see if I can get back to my home page. Oh, I'm picking the wrong account, sorry. There we go, come on. All right, so let me go back to here. Let's get here. I had another tab open. I should have stuck with that. And let me go back to my demo environment. All right, so one of the things I want to talk to you about is modern pages in SharePoint site. So that's something that's new. And the other thing I'll show you is a screenshot that I have because I've already logged in. I don't want to log out of Office 365 and log in. Let me go to, let's see, let me pick this one, Columbus Library. All right, let's go to this project site and hopefully we'll be able to see modern pages versus classic SharePoint. So if I go to, let's say, a Riskless here. So I picked the Riskless. I could have gone to issues if I wanted to. All right, so we can see that this is actually already, this is not a good one. Let me go back. Let me go back to one of my other projects here. And I think I did Gold Lab earlier. Let me just check and see. Want to be able to toggle. Here we go. All right, so you'll see here that this actually is the classic experience here. So this is an issue list here. So this is probably the SharePoint that you're familiar with. If you just started using Project Online, you may be more used to the modern pages look. But this here is very different. This is classic experience. And you'll see here that I can exit this and go to what's called modern experience here. So very, very different, right? I don't have my my ribbon up top. So I need to know how to use this here to try and figure out to add a new one, to edit, etc. So if this is different and what you're not used to and you would prefer not to use the modern pages, you can just reuse this link down here, return to classic SharePoint, and that again will bring you back to the more familiar look that you may be used to. But again, if you decide you don't like this and you like the modern look, you can go back to, you can exit here. So you can go back and forth if you needed to, all right? So that's one thing that I wanted to show you. One more thing too, let me just put this back into presentation mode and swap it real fast. There's a new user experience, here we go. So I've noticed, and you may not notice this because you are logged into your site, you have it bookmarked, so when you open up Internet Explorer or Chrome, it may be your home page landing. But when I log in from one Office 365 environment to another, I've noticed that this is a little bit different. So instead of seeing what used to be all of my apps here and selecting project to get to PWA, it actually looks a little bit different. And this I just started noticing this week. But if I scroll down to the bottom of this page, there is a link to go to Project Web App. So if you are logging in for the very first time into a new web Office 365 portal, the look and feel is a lot different from what you might be used to. So you can still get to Project Web App, you just have to scroll down at the bottom of the page there to do so. Let me just go jump ahead a few slides here so we can talk about some next steps here. So calls to action, this is just some things that you can do after today's session. So you can link in with me, Laura Crawford, MCT at LinkedIn. And then you can also link in with our company so you can follow what's going on there. We also have our blogs at pp.ppmworks.com. Please visit our blog site. You'll see that if you go there, there are probably 4 or 5 blogs on topics that I covered today. So when we find anything that's new and exciting out there, we go ahead and create a blog. So you can subscribe to those. So I do encourage you to do that. So please feel free to go and check those out. And also just really link in with me after this. I enjoy hearing from everybody after these sessions. So, and if you have any questions, you can send them to info@ppmworks.com. All right, so if you want a copy of the recording of this webinar, go ahead and email us and we'll send that out to you. All right, and then again, if you have questions after today, you might forget, feel free to do that.